It's Valentine's Day today, and it's only appropriate on a day like this to talk about love. Let's talk about the love we have for our families. Let's talk about the love we have for our homes. And ensuring that we love our homes, we have to design them in the right way. You see, as a designer, I get great privilege and responsibility to be involved in designing the homes for our clients. And that comes with a great responsibility. It comes with a great desire to do the best by that family. You see, that is a huge decision for any given family. It's got a huge financial side to it. It's an outlay, the biggest of their life. It's a stressful time, most likely. And it's something they're going to need to live with for the rest of their lives. So we have to get it right. I want to tell you a story to try and bring some of this to life. It's a story about when I got engaged to my now wife 20 years ago. So it all started with myself and my best friend doing a covert operation in the streets of Liverpool to find a wedding ring. So we searched and searched, and I was so excited about this day. And I had really thought the best possible place to do this would be to take my partner for a weekend in the north of Wales. Now, the north of Wales is a stunning part of the world. It's so beautiful. The best way I can describe it to you, and this may only relate to somebody of a certain age who would have watched children's television in the 80s and 90s. And there's a program called Postman Pat, an animated series from Britain. And in that, it shows rolling green hills, dry stone walls, sheep in the fields, and this beautiful, lush landscape, mountains in the background. Really idyllic country lifestyle. Not a person to be seen around, just you and nature. I thought this is the perfect place. This is where I want to actually express my love to my partner and ask her to be my wife for the rest of our days. And so we came there for the weekend, and it was a beautiful spring afternoon. There was not a person around, and we went for a walk. We were walking along this beautiful little winding road, as I say, dry stone walls, sheep in the field next to us. And so, right, it's quiet now. I'm nervous. I can feel the tension in my stomach. I've got to do it. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to do it right now. I got down on one knee and I proposed to Stella, my wife, at that moment. And it was such an exciting moment. What did she do? She turned around. She didn't say yes. She started screaming and she ran away from me. She ran down the road, but she was shouting, "I'm going to get married. I'm getting married. I'm getting married." She was so excited. And in that moment, that quiet country road became more like a motorway. This line of traffic started coming down the road, and she waved down every single car and told them exactly about that moment. Now, this moment is obviously very personal to me, but what happens with all moments like this is they're set in a place, they're set in an individual surroundings, and it's often that surroundings which really sets the background for our stories and our life. And it's no different whenever we design our homes. We need to ensure that we've got the best vessel for life, that we can share stories, we can laugh, we can make memories, and raise our families in the best possible way. You need to do this right because it is, like I said previously, such a big part of your life. It's such a huge decision. And we need to be able to guide you through that in the best possible way. In 20 years of architecture, I've learned a few tricks along the way, and I'm constantly evolving how we actually deliver for our clients. And the way that I currently think is the best way is dealing with design through 6 key fundamentals. And I just want to quickly run through those 6 fundamentals so that you can get a picture of what we believe creates a really valuable house for a given family to declare their love for each other over a very long period of time. The first fundamental is timeless aesthetic. Now, this is so important because obviously aesthetic is very much a subjective thing. But what we want to do is ensure that we create something that isn't of a specific period. It's timeless. We do this by ensuring that the building becomes more of a canvas than the painting. We allow the building to give you the opportunity to add your layers of memory. And these layers are easily transferable from time to time. As things move in time, you can change that. But the building itself shouldn't have to change. It becomes the background. It becomes the canvas. So that timeless aesthetic is really important. It should be inspiring to be able to create your life within. It should be a beautiful place to live. The next fundamental is number 2, functional simplicity. Now, any good home will function as if it's second nature. It's really important that everything is in its place. It's aligned perfectly to how you will use it from a day-to-day point of view. And we do this by extracting a really detailed brief from our clients. We try and get to know their movements. We try to get to know what they like to do at certain times of the day and how they do that. And we gather all this information and then we reverse engineer a design out of that process so that everything has its place, everything is functional and working exactly like it should. And the second layer to this is ensuring that that functionality evolves and can change over time. We know that a home should last for a long time. It should last for generations. So what does that mean from a design perspective? We need to ensure that the house can grow as your family grows. You may have additional kids, you may have grandparents moving in, maybe there's needs for access control of wheelchairs and so on, things that make mobility easier in the home. Maybe you want to downsize at some stage and you want to be able to lease out as part of the home for extra income. These sort of questions need to be asked up front. We need to understand what the life of this building is going to be, what the next generation are likely to do with that building as well. And so we evolve it over time. Third one is really close to my own heart, and it's health and well-being, ensuring the family that live there are as healthy and happy as possible in that space. And we can do this in an active way through design. We need to ensure that the building, first of all, is designed to maximize the natural environment. It soaks up as much of the sunlight and connection to nature as possible, because we know we as natural beings will resonate really well with that. It makes us feel better. We also need to ensure the building is as airtight as possible so that it keeps contaminants out of the building. Things like bushfire and CO2 and carbon monoxide, all these contaminants in our outside air, we need to ensure that doesn't get inside the building. And then contaminants that are inside the building, such as allergies, such as viruses, VOCs, and so on. We need to have a system to remove those contaminants from the air so that we have a perfectly filtered natural environment inside that is just keeping the right balance for our lives and keeping us happy and keeping us healthy. Number 4 is appropriate performance. In the passive house space, designers will call this high performance. We call it appropriate because we feel it is appropriate. It should be for everybody. It shouldn't be something that you aspire to. It's not difficult to get. And it comes down to designing the envelope of your building in the best possible way. First of all, ensuring that the envelope and the windows within that envelope are facing in the right direction with appropriate shading so that we can gain as much free energy from the natural environment. Secondly, we need to ensure that that building is well insulated and airtight so that it uses as little energy as possible because it isn't losing it. It's captured inside and it's maintained and recycled. And this is really important just because it reduces your ongoing bills. It reduces your need to actually be connected to a wider grid and keeps your maintenance and bills lower for the lifetime of the building. Number 5 is related to the performance of the building, and that's self-sufficiency. So in the appropriate performance, we've reduced down the need for energy for heating and cooling in the building dramatically. And then we can apply solar panels, we can apply batteries, and things like that, that then will ensure that we can be self-sufficient for the remaining energy that we need for that building. So it's a very simple thing. And by doing this, we can become self-sufficient from an energy point of view. And then you can extend that idea of self-sufficiency into creating edible gardens, for instance, into capturing water and reusing that water for irrigation, for washing, for flushing toilets, capturing as much of it as possible, becoming self-sufficient in your own piece of land. And that allows you in the future, or whenever this building is designed, to disconnect from the grid, to not have to rely on the unreliability of this grid, because we know that energy prices are constantly fluctuating. We don't know where it's coming from a lot of the time. We don't know how sustainable it is. By having it on site, we can control those metrics. The last fundamental is probably the most important of it all, and that is the idea of legacy. Before we start designing any building, we talk to the clients about the legacy of the building, what it is they want to achieve for the next generations. Building a home is not a short-term thing. A building should last at least 100 years. So when you think about it in that time frame, what does that mean for the building? We need to think about quality more than quantity. We think about how the building will evolve, what the next generation will do. You try and think about creating a building that our children will one day fight over because it's such a beautiful place. They have so many memories there. They have shared their love and responsibility with the earth and with each other within that space. And that really resonates with them, and they see a responsibility to maintain this building into the future. That's how we see a love connection to architecture and to family. We want to do this for you, and we want to ensure that you have the tools to do this. So when you're designing your building, think about this. Design it well, build it once, leave a legacy. If you do this, you're creating your own love story. You're creating a love story of your home for your family into the future. Thank you for listening.